In this video, I will tell you how you get jacked fast. And I know that you can get jacked fast because I have managed to completely transform my body in 1.5 years. This is not my starting position. My starting position was worse than that. I was really fat, I was obese. And I was not really into fitness, almost not at all. And once you will start to take care of fitness, once you will follow the 4 steps that I am about to present to you, you will get in amazing shape. And if your starting position is better than mine, then fuck me, you can get in amazing shape and it won't take a lot of time for you. Now the exact time frame that it will take will depend largely on step 2 and 3. And now before I go over them, I need to just put this disclaimer on. In this video, I won't tell you the most optimal way to get in shape. I will tell you the fastest way to get in shape. Because as you will see in a minute, the muscle building process takes time. It is a pretty long one. And even though the first few months of going through it, you will get most results, still, to get in as good of a shape as you can get into, you will need to go to the second step for more time than I would suggest you to go to in this video. But regardless of that, you will get in amazing shape by following the step that I am about to present to you. The first one. The first step is about the first month. Why? Because before integrating fitness into your life, before going and training and performing resistance training in the gym in the way that I am about to present to you, in the way that actually causes you to build a lot of muscle, you need to do one very important thing. So to build muscle, there is one principle that is the most important. It is the progressive overload principle. It is about training consistently throughout the weeks and getting stronger with sufficient intensity. Or in other words, to just go and push yourself each and every workout to your limits when training. So by extension, you force adaptation and gain muscle. The thing is that if your technique is not very good at the beginning, so you will go and train with the bad technique in most exercises, you will build the bad technique habits, and as time will go on, as you will go through the second step, you will build a lot less muscle than you could. Why? Because technique, if it is not good at all, if it is very bad, muscle gain will be impaired to a large extent. But if it is decent or good or great, muscle gain will be amazing. If you tick the other box off of progressive overload of intensity, this box. But if it is very bad, there is another consequence that you might suffer. It is an injury. So technique is very important for both injury prevention and making sure that you target the right muscles, and that's why I want you to build the right technique habits for the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, essentially a month. Now for the first week, I want you to put extra emphasis on it. I want you to both learn the right techniques with an upper-lower split, so that's the split that I would do if I were in your shoes. That's one of the greatest splits for 4 training days per week, which maximizes muscle gain. It is a great training plan for that, because you train each muscle twice per week. You train all muscles, essentially, and you give them time to recover between each session. And along with learning technique habits for the first week of training with very light weights, even taking my time and learning the technique in the gym, spending even more time working out, like 1.5 hours, just making sure that my technique is great in relation to the video that I will compare my technique to, or asking people in the gym for advice, or just filming myself and then looking at it and seeing how can I improve my technique and make sure that I hit the right movement, and knowing what right movement through education. I would also research the topic of recovery when it comes to muscle gain, right? Because the muscle gain process, it has 2 steps. Training and recovery. I would research all of the main components in these 2 components of getting jacked, so I know exactly what is required from me to get in shape. So I would do it for a week. I would constantly educate myself. I would watch a bunch of YouTube videos. I would either get my course or watch Mike Israel videos or Jeff Nippard videos, which are awesome. And for the remaining of the month, I would still continuously educate myself and learn. I would still make sure that my technique is amazing for the remaining of the month. But I would start to increase intensity and to increase weights and reps and At the end of the first month, what I would do, I would start to train close to muscular failure, because after learning the technique habits, after progressively getting stronger and learning how it feels like and getting used to training in general, I would also start to track calories and protein, so to get in shape as fast as possible. So I would start by tracking calories, getting at least 1 gram per pound of body weight per day. I would also start to lock in my sleep. I would build all of these good habits, and at the end of this month, I would set myself up for success for the muscle building phase, the second step. The time frame of this step will largely depend on how much muscle do you want to build. If you want to build as much muscle as you can, so when you will go through the third step after it, you will get in amazing shape, in as good of a shape as you can get into, then you should take your time with this step and do it for more time, for months and even years. But if you want to get in shape ASAP, then 3 months is the bare minimum time frame that's required from you. Now, if your genetics are very bad, it will take more time for sure, and if your genetics are amazing, it will take less time for sure, but 3 months is just the bare minimum for almost everyone. 11 months, if you have very bad genetics, is, your bare minimum, and you will know after a few months of training. You will see how much muscle you will build, and then you will know. In this time frame, I would lock in protein, I would eat 1 gram per pound of body weight to maximize results. I would track calories, I would be either on a maintenance or on a very small surplus. Now, if you're either skinny fat or fat, then you should not be on a surplus, essentially. You can be on a surplus or a very small one, do maintenance. When you eat in a 50-100 calorie surplus, you don't gain almost any weight at all, you mostly gain muscle mass, and as a result of it you build more muscle, because 50 calories surplus and 101 has been shown in studies to promote muscle gain more than 250 and 500 in relation to the weight gained. So I would lock in protein, I would either be on maintenance calories or small surplus. I would focus on progressive overload, on sleep, and on consistency. I would consistently get stronger in the gym, I would lock in my recovery, I would start to train with my friends for consistency. I would force myself to train each time that I need to. And by doing so, I would see a lot of muscle gain. This photo is me after around 6 months of training. As you can see, now I was not very lean. I still lost some body fat from the first photo, and I also gained some muscle. As you can see, the striation in my chest. I built a lot of muscle, and that's because my genetics are pretty good, but with it is because I was doing things correctly, I was focusing on these things, and because of that I started to see a lot of results. And then the third step, after building muscle and a lot of it for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months, I would cut. Now the amount of time that it will take from you to cut will depend on your body fat percentage after this maintenance phase. Now if you will maintain your weight during the muscle building phase, you will probably lose some body fat, because just by gaining muscle and maintaining your body weight, your lean mass will go up, and as a result of it, the mass that should go down is your fat mass. You will lose some body fat, and if your body fat is above 25%, I need you to realize that it will take some time. Even if you might want to think that it will take from you fucking 1 or 2 months to lose that weight, that excess weight, only fucking 15 pounds and I'm lean, it's not quite like that. 2 reasons for it. First one is that usually we underestimate our body fat percentage. So when I was cutting, the first cut that I was going through between this stage and this stage, I thought that I only need to lose around, 10 pounds. I was wrong. To get lean as I am today, I needed to lose around 17 pounds. A lot more, right? It had taken me a lot of time. And from this phase to this phase, I needed to lose around 20 or 25 pounds to get shredded. And that's the thing, it will probably take more time for you. And I have a friend who made the same mistake. He thought that it would take less time, and he was largely disappointed when he realized that he was fatter than he thought. So it probably will take more time than you think. The rule of thumb is to double the amount of time that you think it will take from you. So if you think it will take 2 months, it will probably take 4 months for you to get jacked. If you think it would take 4 months, then you're probably accurate, if your body fat percentage is around 25%. During the cutting phase, I would eat a high protein diet. I would reduce training volume a bit in terms of sets, and I would lock in even more my sleep, and my intensity I would just keep it the same. So locking in my intensity when cutting would mean that I would keep the intensity the same as it was when I was building muscle, because of one reason. When cutting, the body recover to a lesser extent. Why? Because it has less energy. Recovery get impaired essentially. That's what studies show, and that's what my own experience essentially show, right? Some studies show it, some studies show the opposite. I won't be talking about science, but in my own experience, this is what happened. I felt a lot more fatigue during my cut. And because of that, locking in your intensity is making sure that you hit the same intensity as before. Why would you do it? Because you want to minimize muscle loss, and even in some cases it is possible to gain muscle during a cut, especially after training for 3 or 4 months. And in locking your sleep is just so you recover better, which will mitigate some of the negative effects of the recovery that comes from cutting. And then the 4th step, after cutting until I'm pretty much jacked, I would be jacked. And that's what will happen to you too. After cutting, you will get as jacked as you can essentially. You will strip that layer of fat off and you will see your muscles, you will have visible 6-pack abs, and you will look way better. And now it's time to build even more muscle, and it is basically about going through the 2nd step again. Just building muscle, right? You can either eat on a small surplus or maintenance and just train consistently. If you feel a lot of hunger every day and you don't feel very well because your body fat percentage is low and you have a hard time maintaining this body fat percentage, then a lean bulk would be a very smart idea. And that's essentially it. If you want me to make more videos like this one, when I go over steps and, presentation style videos, then like and subscribe and write me a nice comment, or else you can just like and subscribe. I will see you tomorrow.